So we're going to continue our conversation on attachment styles, and let's just go with the biggest one, which is secure attachment, what everybody is I guess trying to shoot for, right? You know, you get trust and confidence in each other, you communicate effectively, you're independent and you have your independence, both of you, and you get satisfaction from your relationship. And you both have secure paths, nurturing, loving families, and you're self-aware, you've done some growth and things like that.
I
Also
can't
emotionally
believe
resilient. They can regulate their emotions, apologize, take some accountability on, both sides easily without judgment, things like that.
I can't believe that's half the population now. I feel like so
I
many
feel
people
like
have
that's
so many.
right. I mean, I feel like half of the world, grew up in a loving, caring family. It doesn't have to be a nuclear family, mom, dad, and 2.5 kids. If you had one parent was there, but they were very loving, and you had extended family, aunts, cousins, grandmother, like you had maybe you're missing a parent, but you had a, full family.
I don't think so. I think when you have a missing parent, there's definitely going to be some issue, whether it's from the mom or the dad, and even the people that are given up for adoption that have like great parents, they have a severe abandonment wound. So I don't know if anyway.
Well, let's say, okay, let's say an example of maybe a parent died when you were very young or you were a baby, so you have no memory, but you had an uncle that lived next door and stepped in, and your cousins, you had two brothers and sisters, and you had cousins, and your uncle was, right there for you, and your grandfather was, so you had those male father figures that even though your father's missing, yes, that will leave something, but you had those male figures to look up to, and somebody that stepped in that role. I think you could come out the other side,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And maybe even be more of, if it was a boy, let's say, maybe even be more of a father figure when, he got married and had kids, because he maybe missed that. So I think you can come out the other side okay with something like that.
I feel like secure attachment then would attract secure attachment. I don't know if secure and anxious or secure and avoidant would do well together, because I feel like their energy wouldn't be attracted really. Like there's no almost work to be done if like secure was with anxious.
But how do you
And
know that when you
avoidant,
first meet someone? You
because
meet
you can
somebody and you don't know
feel
them.
you can feel it, I think. And then I think it gets worse, or it shows up the more that you interact. And let's take texting, for example. Okay. So you meet, you're dating, you're in the beginning stages of a relationship. People I'll talk to that aren't secure yet, they'll be like, well, I didn't hear from him. And you can speak on a male's perspective, because I'm talking about like a girl's perspective. They'll be like, well, I didn't hear from him yet. What do I do? And I'm like, you wait to hear from him. You don't chase or go after someone, because it makes you look needy and desperate. And they're in that anxious style. And they're like, well, I don't know if he's not going to know this, or, and they'll get like anxious about it, literally, and start texting, and then still not get a response, and then get even more anxious. And then they'll maybe start to look at themselves like, this is not working. And I have to remind people, like, stop, stay in your feminine energy, attract, don't chase. And I know it's different because it's attachment versus energy, but it really is, because the anxious energy goes out to the person.
Yes.
And they feel it, and they're like, whoa, I don't like this. Especially if they're avoidant, because they're picking up on something that feels off.
Right.
Now
So from a guy's point of view, like, I think this generation of people is like, oh, well, I'm gonna wait for them to text, or I'm gonna wait for them to text, or like you like ignore each other on purpose. And that's so fucking dumb. Like with securely attached people, they have a sense of trust in the other person and themselves. So to just give that example to some people that would be in a secure attached relationship, I haven't heard from them in 2 days, but we just started working. Maybe they're busy at work. So, hey, how's things going? And then you don't get a reply. Oh, they're busy. They'll get back to me when they can. And you're not worried
and if they
about it.
don't, who cares? It
Yeah.
wasn't
And
meant to
then,
be.
okay,
That's
the
what
next day you hear from them. Hey, I had a shit show at work. My kid was sick. I'm sorry. I didn't get back to you. Like, okay, no big deal. Like, all right, that's fine. And if you don't hear back from them for a couple of days, well, fuck it. Like, why am I dating this person if they're not
Mhm.
available and they don't want to reciprocate the energy? Bye. No need
All
to be
right,
angry.
so that's
Bye.
a secure, that's a
Yes.
secure attachment, but talk about a point when you were an anxious or avoidant, how would you
Well,
react?
we're just doing secure right now. We're gonna get
Oh,
to that.
yeah,
We're gonna get to
okay,
that in a minute. We're just trying to try and go through some of the secure ones.
okay,
But secure people effectively communicate, like we're just talking about, like that. Just
yeah,
you have that trust, you have that effective communication, or you could even be like, you send them a text, like, it's been a day, and you're usually texting every day, but it's been a day, and then the next day you say, hey, how's things going? And you don't hear back from them. And now it's, the next afternoon, like, hey, is everything okay? I haven't heard from you. Just getting a little concerned. Like, you all right? You busy at work? Just let me know. And that's just courtesy with communication. Like, oh, hey, yeah, sorry, I've been busy. It's a shit show at work. I'll give you a call tomorrow. I got a ton of meetings going on. Sorry, I meant to respond to you. And, that's effective communication. And that's, a healthy way of progressing. Like, look, if you're dating somebody and you're talking every day and then all of a sudden it goes to there's days on end in the gap, yeah, you have to give them the benefit of the doubt, the trust. But again, if you're a secure attachment style, and maybe that other person on the other end is one of the insecure attachment styles, right? And it's going to leave you a bit confused, but a secure person's going to be like, hey, this isn't really what I'm looking for here. And I'm not going to chase somebody if they're not going to reciprocate my energy. I'm not trying to be here. But then on the next thing, you get, emotional resilience. Securely attached people are emotional resilient. They can regulate their emotions, and during times of stress or conflict, they're not overwhelmed, they're not jealous, don't have the anxiety. So maybe if you hadn't heard from that person from 2 days and then they call you, hey, I'm really sorry. I had a family member had to go to the hospital and I've been with them the whole time. I meant to text you back. I just had so much stuff going on. I had to get the kids and work. I'm really sorry. And then a secure person would be like, hey, you know what? No problem. I understand. Life and shit happens. That's cool. Um, you know, on a secure end, but
yeah, but
um
it also takes 3 seconds to send a text, so
it does. It
even if
does.
you're in a secure attachment, I think that those things are something, but that's all relationship stuff that I do with people coaching. And it's
Yeah.
like, you have to then say, okay, well, next time, if there's something going on, at least get back to me within 24 hours. If you're in a relationship, because that's just
If you were just in the
normal.
starting stages of dating though, and you're just
No,
talking and
no.
you've only been out a
Yeah.
couple of times, like, and they don't get back to you for 2 days, but there was like a family emergency and a lot going on, like, yeah, it can slip your mind into, but as long as they acknowledge it and, like, hey, here's what happened. I'm sorry. I did mean to get back to you. And like, that's the accountability. That's that emotional resilience. Like, hey, I'm owning it. I meant to text you back. I'm sorry. And and then, if you're on the other end, like, hey, just, I was a little worried. And the next time, just, even if it's a few hours later or the next morning or something, just let me know you're all right. That's all. Um, and then, it's the other thing too is the secure attachment. You got people that are self-aware and they've done some personal growth and they're in a good place. And these type of people also get a lot higher satisfaction out of relationships. They're more content, fulfilled, happy with their partners, and they're more likely to stay in a long-term relationship because you feel valued and supported by each other, and you're not, like you said, constantly anxious or constantly worrying
I
about
think that
what's going on.
it's important to note too that when you're in secure attachment, you're comfortable giving and receiving love in the same direction, like, evenly, because, you might at some point feel like you're giving too much or you're not getting anything or vice versa. So that's another key point to realize if you're in a secure attachment or not is, am I openly receiving and giving? Because a lot of wounded people, it's hard for them to receive.
Well, past experiences play into that, and if you're from a caring, nurturing family where your needs are being met, you'll be more likely to give that back to someone else. And even though everybody faces life challenges, nobody's perfect, everybody has their issues. Like, even if you're secure attached, you still have your personal issues, you still have your quirks, nobody's perfect. And
And
but
what about, all right, I have a question for you since everything's coming from a secure upbringing.
well, I mean, that's
Uh,
what we're just talking about. Or they had caregivers that were secure. They might have had a dysfunctional family, but went and lived with aunts or uncles who were very loving and caring, and they
I mean,
brought
I
that
have
in.
no, I want to mention my ex, my daughter's dad, quickly because he had a great upbringing. You know, his mom never had to work. His dad was a doctor. They were, you know, abundant. He was treated well. There was nannies, all this stuff. And he grew up and he does not have, he's not in a secure attachment. So where does that come from then? I mean,
Okay,
that's,
I
that's
mean,
important to mention.
just on the
because-
surface, I'll throw out what I
Mm.
think. If the mom
Mhm.
didn't work and the mom was at home, the mom was probably, and he had nannies, so it sounds like the
Mm.
mom was distant. He was getting it from help. And if the dad was a doctor and there were nannies involved, the dad was probably not very present. He's probably working a lot. And the fact that the mom didn't work and he had nannies, he wasn't getting what he needed from his mom. He was getting it from another person. So on the surface, yeah, he had money. Yeah, he had a nice upbringing, but dad was
Spoiled.
mom didn't give him anything and, you know, pawned him off on the help. So yeah, probably pushed him to, I don't know. I mean, I don't know the guy. I'm just throwing
Well,
out surface
His
thoughts.
mom treated him like a king.
But you're
That's
spoiled,
what-
it sounds like, right?
Yeah. And
Okay,
then,
there you go.
and
And then it
then-
turns you into a narcissist. If you're a fucking spoiled kid, when you grow up, you're a
Mm.
spoiled self, you know, you only care about yourself. Because
so
that's
just an important point though, is just that you can still have a secure home and have love, a lot of love, and grow up and not have a secure attachment. I think that's important to mention.
oh yeah. This just because you came from a house where your parents didn't get divorced doesn't mean you're getting your needs met by them. That doesn't mean that. But when I say, you know, shared past experience where they had consistent nurturing caregivers, the parents were there, they showed up, they gave them the love and the affection, you know, they had the emotional support and all those type of things. But everybody has their shit. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
All right, so
We should all strive to be secure attachment. We can leave it there.
yes.
Relationship goals.
The point is we have to strive. We can't just expect.
Well, part of it is